Chronographs, usually bold, in your face, and designed to accommodate massive burly blokes with tree trunk wrists. And in my head, I'm absolutely one of those rugged macho types that can pull off a 55mm slab of steel with 5 sub-dials, a huge crown, pushers that double as V8 pistons, and a bracelet that could tow a caravan. But I've been punched in the face enough times to know that I shouldn't trust that cocky, deluded, preening inner caveman. Which means my personal list of cool, masculine chronographs that actually look good on an average-sized child's wrist is depressingly short. And if you want them to have a proper mechanical engine under the bonnet, practically non-existent. So when Bettimer announced the B8002, I dismissed it immediately, assuming it'll be another hulking integrated bracelet beast in the same vein as last year's B8001 Gerard Perregaux Laureato homage. But it turns out I was wrong. Spectacularly, embarrassingly wrong. In fact, so wrong that even after I impulse bought it in last month's AliExpress summer sale, while reading the specs mind you, I still half expected it to be a dumbbell weight on an integrated bracelet. And let's just say, the truth hit home the moment Mrs. Loomed tried it on. As she does with all my watches, usually before proclaiming she either hates it, thinks it's boring, or says it looks like an old man's watch. Or, in the case of my Black Bay 58, all three. But not this time, because now, I'm the former owner of a Bettimer B8002, reduced to quietly borrowing it on rare days that she's in the mood to wear her Aqua Racer instead. Because spoiler alert, this isn't some oversized shouty alpha bro watch, it's a handsome, sensibly priced mechanical chronograph that can charm the watch off your better half's wrist, literally. Let's hit pause for a moment so I can commit the cardinal YouTube sin, shameless self-promotion. I've been absolutely inundated with watch review requests recently, which is great for the channel, less great for my flat surfaces. And it begs the question, what exactly am I supposed to do with all these watches once I'm done poking, winding and judging them? The answer, as ever, is simple. Give them to you lot. However, with the channel being about sarcasm and dad jokes first and talking watches second, I'd rather not turn it into some raffle-fueled grabfest that makes you feel like you're watching late-night QVC. So I've created a fully loomed membership where you can get your hands on these pieces, plus early access to videos, exclusive content, and maybe even a glimpse at my deeply disappointing face. The first 2 watches in the member giveaway will be from 2 brands with a reputation for offering unmatched quality, San Martin and Sega Design, so keep your eyes peeled. And I'm not expecting masses of members, so if you get in early, the chances of one or both of these pieces being on your wrist are pretty high. To put it in perspective, we have 1 member at the time of recording, and if no one else joins, I'll be sending them both watches. But fear not, the usual milestone giveaways will still be on the channel here, so there's still plenty of opportunities to bag yourself a quality watch for nothing. Anyway, shameless plug done, let's get back to the video. Let's get the basics down. The B8002 features a stainless steel case with a diameter of 38.5mm and a thickness of 12.8mm. Lug to lug is 46.2mm, though the semi-fixed first bracelet links extend the actual on-wrist length to around 49mm. The integrated bracelet starts at 25mm wide at the lugs and tapers down to 18mm at the butterfly clasp. It's powered by the hand-wound Seagull ST1903 column wheel chronograph movement, protected by a single dome sapphire crystal up top and a solid screw-down case back underneath. Water resistance is rated to 100 metres and BGW9 loom is applied to both the hands and dial. The specs are solid but nothing headline grabbing at this price point, which is around £160. But you're not buying the B8002 because of a line item on a spreadsheet. What sells it is how it feels, unexpectedly refined, genuinely well made, and in a market full of hollow claims and reasonable execution for the price. That alone is a small miracle. What sets it apart are the subtle decisions, the ones no one would miss if they weren't there, but once you notice them, they quietly elevate everything. Immaculate dial texturing, tiny bevels, clean transitions, crisp brushing that follows straight lines instead of artistic interpretations of wind direction. The whole thing has that clean, confident finishing usually reserved for watches at 10 times the price. And even then, not always executed this well. And sure, Bettimer didn't exactly reinvent the wheel. I'm not claiming to have held the Laureato in hand, and it doesn't take a master-level photocopier salesman to testify that this is very clearly piggybacking off the effort of Gerard Perregaux, but no one's pretending otherwise. But what's impressive is what Bettimer didn't cut. The corners are still there, still crisp. The effort wasn't dialed back to save a few quid in finishing, and that says something about where Bettimer sees itself. Not just another spec-stuffing AliExpress brand, but one trying to prove that it belongs at the grown-up table, even if the name still sounds like a dodgy online bookmakers reserved for gambling addicts that have already blacklisted themselves on all the main betting apps. And mercifully, Bettimer seem to have had a quiet word with themselves about the brand name situation. Gone is the oversized Bettimer branding from the B8001, and in its place, just the logo. Clean, simple, almost tasteful. And with that one act of restraint, the dial transforms from AliExpress impulse regret to something surprisingly refined. You've got two dial options, blue on blue, or this one, the obvious front runner, an off-white Panda dial with a Clou de Paris waffle texture that adds depth and just enough visual interest to feel premium without trying too hard. It's framed by three recessed black sunburst subdials at 3, 6 and 9 o'clock that are crisp, consistent and legibly printed. Functionally, it's your classic 369 layout. Running seconds at 9, a 30-minute totalizer at 3 and a 24-hour indicator at 6. Now, no one asked for the last one, and no one really has a use for it. But it's likely a mechanical inevitability with the ST1903 movement rather than some deliberate ergonomic decision. No doubt it was met with a shrug and someone muttered close enough during development. Personally, I'd have preferred a 2-register layout to give the dial a bit more breathing room. But let's not kid ourselves. That extra space would have just made room for the dreaded sequel of The Return of the Bettimer wordmark. In 72-point Arial bold italic, possibly with a drop shadow and some Microsoft Word art magic. So if the awkward third subdial is the only thing standing between us and typographic horror, I'm happy to pretend it's useful. The indices are blued metallic finish, raised and applied over the black chapter ring with a slim minute track. The same cool tone extends across the hands too. Classic sword shape for the hour a minute, paired with a needle-like chronograph seconds hand that actually hits the edge of the dial. Even the subdials are properly sized, precise, proportional, and free from the usual mismatch you get at this price. And that's the real surprise here. It looks like someone actually gave a damn. Not a flurry of cost-cutting shortcuts or last-minute bodges, but a watch that feels considered, assembled with intent, not guesswork. Given the proportions of the hands and indices, I was fully prepared for the loom to be a bit naff. More of a token gesture of BGW9 rather than something useful. But somehow, and I don't know how, it actually works. It glows blue, it glows evenly, and it's surprisingly bright. Let's not get carried away. It's not going to torch your retina like a Seiko diver at 3 AM, but manage your expectations, dial up your optimism by about 30%, and you'll be pleasantly surprised. The case is 38.5mm wide. This is properly proportioned classic sizing for a chrono. Not so small you're squinting at the subdials like a confused pensioner reading his own funeral notice in the local paper. Not so big it's trying to compensate for anything. 12.8mm thickness, including the dome crystal, gives it a decent amount of wrist presence and weight without overdoing it. It's still as chunky as you'd expect from a Genta-style integrated bracelet sports watch, but chunky in a way that feels considered, not clumsy. Now, one thing that throws people with integrated bracelet watches is the lug-to-lug. It usually sounds reasonable on paper, but that only tells half the story. With the bracelet meeting the lugs rather than tucking in between them, the effective flat length can stretch out quite a bit. And it's true here too. But because of the compact diameter, it still weighs well under 50mm overall, which means even the skinny-wristed heroes among us won't have to convince themselves it weighs smaller than expected. It's made from 316L stainless steel, and the brushing here isn't phoned in. It's straight, consistent and confident. While a slim polished chamfer runs down each flank, not flashy but clean and deliberate with near flawless transitions. This isn't a watch that relies on smoke and mirrors, it just looks finished. That said, the flat steel surfaces do pick up hairline scratches from just existing in the same postcode as Oxygen. And without any sort of hardening treatment, it's the usual trade-off. Great finishing that's easy to mark if you're not careful, so maybe don't introduce it to your keys. The bracelet carries over the same sharp brushing and crisp chamfering as the case, with polished centre links to match the dial's more refined touches. It uses a butterfly clasp, not my first choice, but it suits the integrated design. Bettimer at least includes a half link, so I got a decent fit. Your mileage, as always, may vary. The watch is water resistant to 100 metres thanks to the screw down crown and screw down caseback, but it does come with a caveat. Being a hand wound movement, you'll need to unscrew the crown every time you want to wind it, which feels a bit unnecessary, especially since the pushers sitting just above and below the crown are totally unprotected. If the crown is actually offering any real protection, it's not making a convincing job of it. But where things start to wobble, both literally and philosophically, is the crystal and caseback. Bettimer have gone with a single dome sapphire crystal up front, which I can only assume was chosen to channel some of that hazy disco-era 1970s charm. And yes, it delivers distortion like a cheap carnival mirror if you're not looking dead on. It's a vibe, but is it the right vibe? Because let's be honest, this watch isn't trying to cosplay some dusty relic of history, it's referencing the Laureato, a watch that is very much alive and well, and sold in boutiques with mood lighting and dodgy tribal beats playing on loop. So wouldn't a double dome sapphire, heck, even a flat one, have been more of an honest choice? Something with a little clarity to go with a modern sizing and clean design? Apparently not. At least there's decent anti-reflective coating, so you won't be steering into blazing sunburst every time you check the time. It's just that the thing that you can see might occasionally look like it's been painted onto cling film. And then there's the solid caseback. A watch with the ST1903 inside, one of the truly photogenic Chinese movements out there. This feels like an act of violence, a deeply preventable tragedy. You go to all the trouble of sourcing a hand-wound column wheel chronograph, then slap a plain steel lid on it like you're ashamed of what's underneath. Bettimer could have saved themselves the effort and just thrown in a VK movement and a sound chip that makes ticking noises when you press the button. Still, credit where it's due, the ST19 might be hidden, but it's not silent. The pushers offer that clicky tactile satisfaction that quartz chronos can only dream of. No slop, no guesswork, just clean, mechanical yes every time you press. And then there's the winding. Every turn of the crown feeds tension into the spring and into your soul. That mechanical resistance, the audible clicks, it's a ritual. And one of the few remaining reminders that yes, this hobby used to be about interaction and not just wrist selfies. Is it accurate? Not especially. Is it reliable? Sure, until it isn't. Is it serviceable? Technically, yes. But let's not kid ourselves. If it ever gives up the ghost, you'll bury it in a sock drawer and replace it for less than the cost of a pub lunch. Still, until the day comes, it'll keep ticking and making you feel like you're part of something slightly more meaningful than just checking the time. This is where Bettimer quietly outclasses expectations. It doesn't wear oversized, it doesn't shrink into irrelevance either, it just fits. Still chunky enough to carry that Genta-esque integrated bracelet swagger, but without the kind of lug overhang that makes your wrist look like they're being punished for a crime they didn't commit. Even Skeletor's grandmother would nod in approval without asking if you'd been eating properly. It's balanced, charming, slightly roguish thanks to that Panda dial with its textured arrogance and blued hands. The kind of watch that dresses up or down without breaking a sweat. T-shirt? Easy. Blazer? Slick. Track jacket and trainers? Go full weekend warrior mode. No one's stopping you. And crucially, it's thin enough to slide under a cuff without catching like it's trying to escape. Rare for a chrono, rarer still for one with mechanical guts and actual style. If what you're after is an affordable mechanical watch that makes you grin every time you wind it, or gives your partner just enough excuse to permanently borrow it, the Bettimer B8002 might be the smartest, most charming £160 mistake you'll ever make. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.